Let's create a disaster recovery disk in Backup Exec 20. The procedure has changed a little bit from previous versions, so let's go ahead and take a look by clicking on the Create Disaster Recovery wizard in the Backup and Restore tab. And now we see the wizard pops up. Click Next. And we're going to choose to create a new simplified disaster recovery disk image. So we're going to start from there. Click Next. We're going to go ahead and allow the 3 gigabytes of data to be downloaded from Microsoft in order to continue on, which it requires the ADK files. And that stands for the Microsoft Windows Assessment and Deployment Kit. Go ahead and click Next. And now it's going to take us over to Microsoft's site where we can download the ADK, and it will do it for us automatically. Let's go ahead and click Next. You can choose to be part of the Windows Customer Experience Improvement Program or not. We'll just choose not to at this time. Go ahead and click Accept on the license agreement, of course, after you read all of it. So it's going to select just the features that you want, that you want for this. So since you're using this wizard, Backup Exec is saying just need the deployment tools and the pre-installation environment. Next, and now it's acquiring the tools. Again, it's going to be about 3 gigabytes of data, so be prepared for a long download if you have a slow internet connection. Even though it says it's the Windows 10 ADK files, we're actually in Windows Server 2016. And that's just because they just call it all Windows 10 now. With previous versions, it was required to also have a Windows disk, the installation disk for the operating system that you used. But fortunately, you no longer need to do that. You just need the ADK files. We can see after about 10 minutes, the download is complete, and now it's doing the installation. I have roughly an 80 megabit download speed, but it doesn't always matter about your download speed because Microsoft doesn't necessarily always deliver the speed that you have just because you've got a high speed. And it looks like it was successful. Go ahead and click Close. So now our disaster recovery disk ISO file is just about ready. We're going to choose the platform, whether it's 64-bit or 32, and of course this is 64-bit. And you can also choose your time zone, and we'll go ahead and choose ours. Choose your language, and you can also automatically start the network services, which I definitely recommend. Click Next, and it is for a Windows 2016 server. Go ahead and click Next. And if you have any special drivers you need, you can go ahead and add them now, such as drivers for your RAID controller, or special network or video cards, things like that. I don't have anything special on this one, so we'll go ahead and click Next. And we'll go ahead and choose the label that we want to call it and the location of where the file is going to be. I'm going to change it to the desktop just so it's a little bit easier to find. So go ahead and click Save and Next. And now we can go ahead and click Create Image. So you want to do that for every different operating system that you have. And the good thing about this is if you've already done the ADK files once, you don't have to do them a second time. So the creation of the second disaster recovery disk image will be much faster than the first one. So the next step would be to just go back to the server list and choose the next server with a different operating system that you would like to create the disk for, and go ahead and click the create the disaster recovery disk, and it'll walk you through the wizard once again, but this time it'll choose the different operating system. Make sure you label your DVDs with the proper name, so that way when you go to do a restore, then you'll be able to pick the right one. So for instance, for this one, I'm going to write Windows Server 2016 Standard, and so if I need to restore this, then I'll boot off of the DVD, and then it will automatically connect me to the server that's running Backup Exec. And it will give me the option of which backup files to restore from, such as which date I want to restore and which full backup. And then it will go ahead and restore that entire thing. Without doing the disaster recovery disk, you can still restore everything, but the problem is that you'll have to reinstall Windows first and then reinstall the restoration over it, which takes a lot more time and can have a lot more problems. That took about 20 minutes to complete, so be sure you are patient. Click Next, and we'll click Finish. Now we'll minimize our Backup Exec and anything else we have open, and we can see there is our ISO file. So all I have to do now is put in a CD. Actually, it doesn't even have to be a DVD because you can see the size is only 547 megabytes. And right-click on it, and from here we can choose Burn Disk Image. And then we can choose the physical disk burner that you have in there if you have one. Otherwise, you have to attach one. And then you'll go ahead and click Burn. And I do recommend that you do verify the disk after burning. Otherwise, you can just pop the disk out, pop it back in, and make sure that the data is on there. So that is how you create a simplified disaster recovery disk in Backup Exec 20.